Your local look at this year's draft, sponsored by Gideon's. Here are your hosts, Phil Bonatti and Tristan Thomas.
Welcome to a special edition of The Pick is In. We've got a wonderful live audience here. You can hear me now at Gideon's Brewing Company. Thank you for having us along here. Tristan Thomas here as well with me, talking about the NFL draft coming up in just a matter of a few days. And wonderful to have a live audience here to interact with and talk about the draft. But Tristan, NFL draft time, just an overall view. What comes to mind when it comes to the NFL draft and for you?
I think about the history of it, really. It started, when it first started, it was just kind of a thing you read about in the newspaper and, oh, my team drafted this. But over the years, it's really grown and the coverage just continues to grow, and it becomes a bigger thing each and every year. It seems like it's honestly my favorite non-sporting event thing surrounding sports to follow and watch every year, just to see, who's going where, look at all the mock drafts for my team, the prospects I'm interested in. It's always a fun time of year just to see. You can project things. It's a hopeful time for everyone. Everyone thinks their team's guy is going to be the team to lead them to the Super Bowl next year. So yeah, it's always a fun thing and a good little reminder that football's around in kind of the spring, summertime.
Certainly, and there's a few layers when it comes to, you mentioned it, your favorite team. You got your hope for the favorite team that you root for and what they could possibly grab in the draft, as well as far as the talent and where they're going and the direction that they're going. Certainly, other layers as well. People go to college as well, and you have your certain favorite college teams, and you're curious to see where those folks end up as far as where they're going to be around the country. And I'm sure there's a lot of level of excitement when it comes to this draft. And obviously, let's talk about this specific draft overview, starting with this one. Certainly an interesting one when it comes to the way it was structured. The Panthers moving up to the number one pick, trading with your Chicago Bears that you root for. Certainly a lot of quarterback prospects there, but a lot on the defensive side as well. A couple of offensive linemen. How would you characterize the way this draft is shaping up, just overall on the national side of things?
Well, what's great is when you can get a draft each year and it's not a foregone conclusion. You think of the Trevor Lawrence draft of, okay, you knew he was going to be the number one overall pick, and there wasn't a lot of intrigue with that number one pick. But this year, the Panthers moving up, we know they're probably taking a quarterback, but is it Bryce Young? Is it C.J. Stroud? Would they shock the world with Anthony Richardson? You never know. But I'm definitely glad my Bears made the move down and, were able to get some draft capital and DJ Moore as well. So always excited to see those potential, moves up and down and just how it can be a dynamic thing each and every year.
The night is always live when it comes to things like that, and so that's why it's always fun to watch what the teams are doing, how they react to the certain picks that are coming. You could start with quarterbacks there, and then you could see a slew of them go as far as the way the draft is set up. But then you could possibly see a run of other certain talent, and then those quarterbacks drop back. You might start seeing teams trade up for other things as well. So certainly a live night for you. Out of all the players, early on, what player intrigues you the most heading in?
Well, it's going to be another biased thing for me. I'm really interested to see where Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback from Illinois, goes. A guy who came in to Champaign, right 15 minutes from where I grew up, and you see him, play as a freshman and grow and play and continue to build up, and all of a sudden, end of his senior year, he's a guy moving on to the NFL and is a guy that is going to be in the top 10. I'm excited to see where he can go, and also excited to see my Bears pick in the top 10 and who they're going to take and what position and all that stuff surrounding it.
Certainly for me, I think it's the guy out of Texas, the Bijan Robinson running back out of Texas. You don't get traditionally, like we've seen running backs of the past kind of go the way of the past when it comes to top tier running backs and that side of things. But I think Bijan Robinson is a special case. He certainly seems to have the talent compared to LaDainian Tomlinson type. You could see him going in a multitude of ways. You could see him going to the Eagles at 10 or even dropping all the way down potentially in the 20s. Who knows? But he seems like a generational talent. But how do teams value the running back position nowadays? The way football is played certainly could be a question mark as well. But looking forward to the way this will shape out for sure. As far as as far as late rounders, I know we were going to talk about our NDSU folks as well. What excites you about the possibility of seeing a lot of these smaller school guys get these opportunities? We're going to hear from Danny Kittner here in a little bit, but it seems like the NFL is embracing a little bit more of the lower level schools, not just the FBS.
Yeah, it's those guys that can come into a scouting combine, their pro day, have a good performance, and can just rise up draft boards regardless of how small of a school they played at. And you can go through the names of all the NFL guys who were at smaller schools to show out. I mean, my alma mater, Eastern Illinois University, that's home of many big time quarterbacks, Tony Romo, Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's those NFL teams taking the chances on a smaller school guy. They could show out in the NFL, and it's certainly excited to see our local guys and kind of what they're able to do in the NFL.
Certainly, and I'm sure this audience is excited to see where our local guys will go as well. I know we got all kinds of different fans here enjoying themselves here at Gideon's Brewing Company. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna hear from a couple folks after the break here, so stay with us with The Pick is In.
Welcome back to KX Sports. The Pick is In.
Welcome back to The Pick is In here at Gideon's Brewing Company. Fantastic crowd. You can hear them as well. And Tristan, we got a couple special guests that are joining us on this show today. I want to start with Cordell Volson, who you've gotten a chance to interview about his certain NDSU teammates that he played with. Talk about, first of all, before we show Cordell, the perspective that he's bringing in to talk about his teammates. Obviously, has been a whirlwind year for him, being in the NFL for just that 1 year right now. Yeah,
it was a great conversation to chat with Cordell. Super nice guy. You wouldn't, if you passed him on the street, you could see he's a big dude for sure. But he doesn't carry himself of, I'm this big NFL player, I'm in a big time. He's a super down to earth guy, and gave a lot of good stuff on his teammates, guys he played with, and did a lot of winning with at NDSU. And those guys hoping to carry that success right over to the NFL and do exactly what Cordell did. He was a highly touted recruit and a second, third round kind of guy, but he carved out a role and did a lot of winning, a lot of good work along the offensive line for a good team, the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, joined now by NFL offensive lineman Cordell Volson. And, Cordell, talking about the draft, that's right around the corner somehow. But take me through, this time last year, just going through the draft process and ultimately what was that
what that was like. And you ended up, it sounds like, in a pretty good spot with Cincinnati. But what's just that uncertainty like, and kind of navigating that?
What you really got to do is you got to lock into the moment. You only go through the whole pre-draft process one time. And every opportunity that you get is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. Whether that's at the combine or an all-star game or your pro day. So every single day you just got to show up and do the work and prepare for this once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, so let's just jump into some of your former teammates heading on to the next level. I mean, it sounds like the top guy coming out is another former offensive lineman, and Cody Mauch. What did you kind of get to know him? What is he like, and how do you think his game kind of translates to the next level?
Yeah, Cody and I are really close. He's one of my best friends. Just got a ton of respect for him, and he's one of the best human beings I've ever been around. Somebody that loves the game of football, plays with energy and passion for the game, and those are all things that you can't coach. And I'm Cody because wherever he goes, he's gonna make a team extremely happy that they picked him.
Yeah, and I think you guys kind of had similar paths of kind of coming in as a skiddier freshman, and then you build up and bulk up, and you get to be you get to see that freshman to senior transition. What's that process like?
Yeah, at NDSU, I truly believe we have the best strength coach in the country. Coach Kramer is the real deal, and he's the blueprint. To be honest with you, he is the one that transformed myself and Cody Mauch and many other guys along the way. A lot of people maybe remember Landon Leckler out of Beach, same type of thing. Skinny guy came in and he got an opportunity in the NFL as well.
Hunter Lepke, kind of seems like a player who can do a lot of things for a lot of different teams. I mean, what's that like to have him on your team, and what do you think he brings to the NFL?
Yeah, Hunter's a really versatile player. Another guy that just loves the game of football, does things the right way. He's a show up, do the work type of guy. Just a really good football player, and I think a team's going to get a lot more versatility out of him than they're going to anticipate. He's going to find himself a great home, and maybe it might take a little bit just because of the type of player that he is, that he's kind of a niche player. But, once he finds his home, he's going to have a long career just because of how versatile he is and how many good things he can do on the football field.
What would your advice be to these guys going through the process, about what would your advice be about, just kind of enjoying it and kind of the best way to kind of remember things?
Everything you do is the last time you're ever going to do it. The last time you're going to hear your name called. The last time that you're going to be in a rookie mini camp, the last time that you're going to make first impressions to coaches, teammates. So just go in and be yourself, be truly genuinely yourself, and the guys are going to respect that.
Awesome, good stuff, Cordell, and appreciate the time as always.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
Let's talk about Cody Mauch and the potential that he has. You see him mocked potentially first round, second round, going to maybe a perennial contender. His game certainly translates to the level, and you made a mention about his versatility that can translate as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. He's played multiple positions, and a team can view him as any of the five positions along the offensive line. But you see the technical work too, and just the little things of being able to get up to the second level and knowing what to do, and not just being a big body, a frame that you can mold, but someone who's just a good football player. And the biggest question with him, with all these guys, is the transition up to NDSU to the NFL. But of course, I think it's a case where he's done everything he could so far, and looks to be an offensive lineman that a lot of people are excited for across the NFL.
Certainly, he's got the character too, right? To really make a mark in the league. You see him mocked potentially to Buffalo. That certainly would be a place that he'd fit in pretty much. I see this a little bit. Going to Kansas City or Philadelphia. See them make that pick of Cody Mauch. You're like, you know what, that just seems like a smart pick by them. And he can be a dependable player for those teams down the road. It's exciting to see where he can end up. Potentially pick Thursday, Friday, but certainly that'll probably be where he ends up. And then I want to mention Hunter Lipke, certainly kind of a unicorn kind of player with the way he plays, fullback potential kind of guy. You see maybe fullbacks kind of waned out of the NFL, but there's certain guys like Kyle Juszczyk that can kind of be an example of a guy that he can be in the NFL.
Yeah, I was thinking Juszczyk too. I mean, you look at the Niners and the way they use him. You can use him in the pass game. He can toe tap and catch down the field. I mean, he can block and do everything. Not every team is going to be in the market for a Hunter Lepke, but the team that is, I think, is going to get a player who can do a lot of cool things for him and can help him win football games and run the ball and throw the ball and just run an effective offense, really.
Certainly. Speaking of effective offenses, we had one here in Bismarck and University of Mary that was setting some records. I'm sure some people here have been to some Mary games as well. Marauders, and certainly was an exciting offense to watch, led by Danny Kittner, who was setting records all over the place when it came to receiving at the Division II level. He certainly is getting some looks at the NFL level as well. We'll see if he gets drafted. We'll see if he goes unsigned, but I'm certain he'll be a UMary Marauder playing in a training camp somewhere down the road. I got a chance to catch up with Danny Kittner about his path to the journey to the NFL draft.
What has stood out to you most? What has surprised you most about the process? As what you've heard maybe from other folks, and then now being in the middle of this process, getting prepared for this late April event.
Yeah, I would say the most surprising thing is just it's tough. I mean, this is the NFL is the top of the top. It's the best league, and so it's real just cutthroat. Like it's just like you learn more and more that it doesn't matter. Like it does matter, but like what you did before is like it's all really good. But you could really have it's one of the best careers, and it's just like you're not guaranteed anything. It's just you got to take each day. Day by day, really, you got to just take it for what it is and just like really make the most of it and not take any day for granted, because the whole process is definitely once in a lifetime process, and going through it. And that's kind of what I've been trying to remind myself and keep that mindset is just enjoy every moment, enjoy the whole process, because no matter what happens, very few people get to do this.
You did get also the opportunity to work out in front of the Arizona Cardinals, obviously the hometown team for you kind of growing up. I don't know if you rooted for them, but tell me about that opportunity and what you learned most from being around an NFL facility like that with the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a great blessing, and I was super grateful for that opportunity. And it was just happened this last Friday, so that was awesome. It was super cool to be able to get that invite for the local pro day and go work out for the Cardinals, which, like you said, being the hometown team, and super cool. I mean, getting in there and just being in the facility and seeing, being out in the field. We were in the practice jerseys and going out there and just, it was like right after we got done working out, like I just kind of went through my mind. I just was like, this is like so surreal and awesome. Like I'm here on an NFL like field in front of these NFL coaches, in front of the Cardinals, and like working out for them, running routes. And it just was like, I just was like, wow, like this is amazing. And just keeping in my mind, like, it's just football. Like always remembering this. It's the game that I've been playing since I, 6 years old, and just now being able to do it in front of the professional coaches, in front of the Cardinals, and just stay, like I just was telling myself, just stay relaxed and go do what I do best and run routes and catch the football. And that's just kind of what, and that is just, it was, I kept telling myself, like, it's just kind of full circle. Like growing up, I remember we were going to a preseason game when I was like 6 years old. My dad told me, he's like, I said like to him, I looked down the field, it was during warm-ups, and I was like, I can't wait to be down there one day on the field. And so kind of just it coming full circle and being able to now go work out, it's just like, just go have fun with it. And at this point, like, it's just enjoy every moment.
Just a few days away from, just a handful of days away from this draft, whether you're drafted or whether you're signed as a undrafted free agent, whatever that works out, what impressions are you going to hope to make in the first time you're with that team?
I would say that letting them know right away that I can be a guy on this team and be a dude, and let them know that I'm here to stay. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. And stepping on the field and letting the team know that they're going to get my best every day, and I'm going to compete my tail off to the best of my ability, and just let them know that I could be a guy that they can count on. I can do whatever they ask of me and just be a guy that wants to be there for a long time.
I look forward to seeing where you're off to next. It's been fun watching the journey. The journey's not done, obviously, but I appreciate you chatting with me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited too. I'm hoping to get call on draft day, and if it's after the draft, and I just hoping for an opportunity.
Well, you heard it there from Danny Kittner. Certainly the thing that stood out to me about the conversation with him was, the dreams of when he was 6 years old, going to a preseason game and talking about that dream of realizing I want to be on that field one day. He has such a long journey, for him. But obviously, that's something that every kid that grows up watching football wants to have that dream, and it's fun to see him kind of potentially realize it there.
Yeah, you talk about the dreams fulfilled. You usually hear about, the day they got drafted, the day they signed the contract, whatever. But I mean, just a pro day, like workout, like for a team, that's not something you usually hear. So it's cool to hear like some of those smaller school guys be like, oh yeah, this great opportunity, just enjoying the process like that. I think is a big part of it. I also thought it was cool just him talking about the process of your training for the measurables that you get measured on in the pre-draft process that really they're supposed to, but 40-yard dash, a vertical, a 3-cone drill, those little things that that doesn't necessarily determine the success of a football player. And it's a lot of just, hey, if you can show out in that, great, but ultimately when you strap on the pads, who's gonna do the best? That's another part that you can't really gauge there.
Certainly, you're poked and prodded as a prospect. Where Danny fits in potentially in the NFL side of things. A slot receiver that you can kind of see really plug and play at any team as long as you're making the grabs at that position. And you're not afraid to go across the middle like those Danny Amendolas or those Cole Beasley kind of players, or Wes Welker's back in the day. Danny can certainly slot in and be kind of one of those Northern Sun receivers. That has caught on. Everyone knows Adam Thielen and his story. Coming out of Mankato, and so certainly the path is there for Danny Kittner to get to the NFL.
Yeah, just being reliable, making the catches, being in the spots, and developing rapport and trust with the quarterback. That's what those guys do, and that's how those guys kind of carve out roles in the NFL. And we've seen it done. Certainly, Thielen, a great example of an undrafted guy that just kind of found his way and kept working and kept grinding and ultimately got it done.
Certainly. Well, we're going to have to take another break, but we'll be right back with more. The Pick is in.
Welcome back to KX Sports. The Pick is in.
Welcome back to The Pick is in. We're at Gideon's Brewing Company. We've got a wonderful, rowdy audience, and I think we're going to wrap this thing up with some questions from the audience. We got our magical jar over here that I'm reaching in, full of questions. And Tristan, should we just dive in right away?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right.
Hitting questions.
First question. We got a Dolphins question. Are the Dolphins moving in the draft? Well, you certainly think about what they're dealing with. They lost their first-round draft pick due to tampering issues in some form or fashion. So certainly you could see the Dolphins maybe getting a little greedy moving up, but they really have set themselves up nicely with the roster that they've built. But I mean, how do you see the Dolphins' strategy moving forward, especially with that lost first rounder?
I think right now the thing is just for the Dolphins is win now. They're in win now mode. You got Tua on a rookie deal. You trade for Tyreek Hill. You trade for Jalen Ramsey this offseason. If there's a prospect who they think can help them win now right away, then I think they move up. But overall, I don't see them as a team that has a lot of capital to make that move, but we'll see.
Certainly, it's a win-now move, and especially in a division that's going to be really, really tough. That
Very
AFC
tough.
East, who would have thought? The AFC East.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Who is the best of the draft picks from ND all time? Well, I think if you think trivia, right, you're thinking of Carson Wentz and where he ended up as far as a quarterback, and certainly had a fantastic start to his career. He does have a Super Bowl ring. People forget how integral he was in that 2017 Eagles run. We don't know where he is going this coming season, but I think as far as that's concerned, that's got to be on the top of the list of the best for me.
That's my pick. I mean, second overall. I mean, to be that high profile, I don't know if North Dakota has really seen someone that high previously. So, yeah, that would be my pick.
He just needs a little stability now in his career, and we'll see where he ends up in that sense of things. But we got to root for our guy, our Bismarck guy, certainly. Let's take another look at a question. What position is the deepest in this draft?
I know this one because I've done my homework, and that is edge rusher. Edge rusher is going to be a deep position. A lot of different guys from big schools, Clemson, Georgia, your SEC powers, and that's a huge position of need for basically everyone. You can always use more edge rushers, and I think that's the position in this draft that has the most depth.
And I think when you think of the way the teams are building each other, I think of the 49ers. They seem to always draft edge rushers, even if they have a lot of guys like that. You can never have enough, and especially teams are starting to rotate those D-line guys, and bring in fresh bodies to go against those offensive lines. I think that's kind of the future of the NFL, is to kind of rotate in these edge rushers, kind of use them as relief pitchers in a sense with baseball, where they're going to come in fresh and ready to attack on the edge. I think we got time for one more, so I'm going to pull out one here. I think it's a good question to end on. Should the Vikings focus first on defense or offense in the draft? I think the defense is where you got to go first with this team. You think about the way they struggled against the Giants all day in that wild card game. Could not stop Saquon Barkley. They couldn't really get any push on the front there, and then their secondary can sometimes have struggles when it comes to stopping teams.
Defense wins championships, but I mean they got an Adam Thielen to replace. Could you get a second a stud receiver to go alongside Justin Jefferson? That's the conundrum the Vikings got to weigh out.
I think you're hoping that KJ Osborne becomes a guy that can kind of step up in that Adam Thielen role, but he's certainly a big, deep presence there for the Vikings. I love the way their offense rolls. We'll see how Kirk kind of plays throughout the year next year. He's always up and down for that. But that's all the time we have for The Pick Is In. We want to thank Gideon's Brewing Company for hosting us. Really special. Tristan, it's a lot of fun. Look forward to watching the draft this weekend, so it should be a lot of fun there. So I want to thank you for watching The Pick Is In. Good night.